This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net. It is Tuesday afternoon, and it is time for What in the World with
Paul Seaburn. Hi, Karen.
Welcome. Wow, another Tuesday.
Another Tuesday. They come up fast on you, don't they?
They do.
Especially when we have so much fun, like we do on What in the World.
And I
And-
want you to know I'm wearing a very special shirt today. It says
okay.
essential. I
Essential.
am essential to this show.
You definitely are, Karen. You are just, just by wearing, you don't even have to wear a shirt to be essential. But
Oh,
not that we do want you to wear a shirt, by the way.
yes, yes.
So we jump off the cliff just as soon as we get started here. So yeah, welcome everybody to What in the World, the your home for a little bit of comedy respite instead of the news, the news that's so bad and political and depressing. Come here once a week or visit us at our podcast on YouTube to What in the World, where all we talk about is news that is always real. No, wait, what is it? It's always real. Sometimes I wrote it down here. Staying home does this to you, by the way.
It is your
I
tagline.
what's that?
It is your tagline.
It does, yeah. There's some kind of brain-eating bacteria, I think, that's living in my office because I'm spending so much time in here. So what is our motto? Always strange, more funny news. Look at this. I can't even find it on my note. This is rehearsal, right? We're not doing this is not live. This is rehearsal.
This is the rehearsal, yes.
Always strange, sometimes funny, and unusually real.
Different.
Wait, I'll find it later. Let's get right to it. So anyway, so I'm here. You know me. I'm the editor and the head writer at mysteriousuniverse.org. That's how I ended up in this business. Karen is the media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, which is our podcasting platform. You can visit us there, and you'll find all of the podcasts that are produced by newclevelandradio.net, running the gamut of different kinds of podcasts. So it's a fun place to be. Karen is also obviously our producer, and also with us is my old buddy John Dinalo. John is our color commentator and the host of What in the World of Sports. So hi, John.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Karen. Another Tuesday for us.
Another Tuesday. That's right. Always strange, sometimes funny. No, always funny.
We are funny.
I'm going to throw it here. I'm throwing this piece of paper away. I'm not going to look at it anymore. Okay, so what are we going to? Oh no, that's the paper. I have all the stuff we're going to talk about on. Karen, I mentioned this before at rehearsal. I have so many things to talk about this week. This has been one of the strangest weeks on record, and I'm going to issue a warning right up front that although we always promise not to talk about politics, one of our stories, maybe two of them, are crossovers, and it's a good illustration of just how the strange and the real are coming closer and closer together in this world that we live in, even the paranormal. So I have a UFO story that happens to include the president in it. And I also have a Bigfoot story and a Mothman story that both include people running for office. So that's just the world we live in. But the good news is they're not all about that. So we're going to talk about all the strange things that have gone on in the news this week. And let's get right to it. Instead of listening to me babble about those kinds of things and try and remember, trying to make excuses from the brain-eating bacteria. Let's get right to the news. So this is hot off the presses, as we used to say when we still read the newspaper. Nestle, the chocolate people, the multi-industry conglomerate, announced this week it will change the name of, get ready for this, Redskins and Chicos, which are two brands of lollipops that are sold in Australia. They don't sell them in the United States, but they're extremely popular in Australia. Now, do I really need to explain to you why those are offensive to certain groups of people? No, of course not. We can figure it out for ourselves. Yet they've been sold there for decades and decades in popular items. Turns out that they finally gave in to the pressure, and they're removing them or they're changing the names of the two products because they're culturally offensive to a number of people.
Wow.
Wow.
However, there's always a however, despite the demands of millions of offended Americans, the Spangler Company, which is right down the street in Ohio, the Spangler Company continues to refuse to change the name of their most popular suckers, the Dum Dum Suckers, despite the fact that it offends Americans across the nation. You don't want to be called a Dum Dum Sucker, do you?
No, I don't
No.
want to be called a sucker either.
I didn't think so. No, because you're essential. So I love talking about the Spangler people and the Dum Dum Suckers in general, because I don't know about the two of you, but I consume many Dum Dum Suckers in my day.
I remember the Dum Dum Suckers. They were like a white wrapper, and then if it was like a grape, sucker, it would be in purple, and
Right.
they had different colors, obviously relating to the flavor of the sucker you had. Oh
People
yeah,
like you, John, probably before you could read, you knew what flavor you were getting.
that's exactly right.
And when you were having a sucker on the way home from a night at the bars, you always knew.
Oh well, yeah.
So,
Oh,
and they also, if you remember, they came on those little paper sticks. Those really
yes,
hard
they were
paper sticks.
small. They were small in size, weren't they? They were not big. They were small.
No, they weren't those big round things that the kids
No,
like
they were
today.
small. They were
Yeah,
small.
little small suckers. So they were originally made by the Akron Candy Company, which coincidentally was not in Akron. It was in Bellevue, Ohio, also right down the road here.
Okay.
And they were not named for, what you might think a dum dum would be named for. They
Mhm.
were actually a salesman came up with the idea because he wanted a name for the suckers that little kids could pronounce and remember. So what better thing than, hey, you're a dum dum. No, I'm not. Look here, have a sucker. So perfect name for
Yeah,
kids
sure.
to remember and say. Now, you may remember this, John, or maybe you do too, Karen. I know they had them in Michigan. We used to ship them up there to the poor people in Michigan who were deprived of all other pleasures in life. The wrappers, you could collect the wrappers and save them and send them in with a dime or something and get valuable prizes from the company that made them. And it was like 25 wrappers.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? Oh,
No, I remember
believe it or-
bazooka wrappers.
oh, okay. Well, we used to say I remember saving the Dum Dum wrappers. And that program existed up until May of this year. So there were still kids sending in, now probably not a dime, but
Mhm.
$1, and it had to be a check or money order, not a dollar bill.
Right.
And it was the first prize that they gave away was a wastebasket basketball set. Those things that we used to play with in the office with
Right.
the paper.
Oh, sure. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this thing included the basket and the hoop and a rubber ball for like 15 wrappers and 10 cents. Not a bad deal. Anyway, so that they gave away basketballs, footballs, baseballs, toy cars, and I'm sure something for girls, but in there. So obviously, I think the sucker people, the dum dums, were the guys. Speaking of guys, John, since you're a connoisseur of suckers here, do you remember what your favorite flavor was?
I'm going to have to say grape.
Grape, okay.
I'm going to say grape. Yeah.
Karen, did you have a favorite flavor?
Root beer.
Root beer. Now
Yeah.
that's an unusual flavor. The original 7 Dum Dum flavors were lemon, lime, orange, coconut, pineapple. Interesting flavor there. Cherry, grape, and another interesting flavor that I remember, butterscotch.
Yes.
Odd
Sure.
flavors. Yeah, that's not something that kids go begging for, is
No, definitely not.
unless you're stuck at grandma's house And all she
Right.
has is that ribbon candy in the bowl that's dusty, and her little wrapped peppermints and butterscotch.
Right, sure.
So they tried to keep a small group of the original flavor. They limited the flavors to 16 flavors a year, and they would occasionally change flavor. So take a guess. I'm not even going to make you take a guess. The flavors that are the most popular today are not any of the ones that you listed, John or Karen. Favorite flavors today: blue raspberry. Oh, I think I would enjoy that. Cotton candy,
Ooh.
root beer. There's Karen's right there. Cream soda, believe it or not, which I think is another interesting flavor. And get ready for this, butterscotch. I find that hard to believe, but it's still on the list, and it's of the original. That's the number one flavor. So
Huh.
how about that? Yeah, that doesn't kind of surprise me. Um, all that coming from a product called Dum Dum. Oh, and those paper sticks we were talking about, they tried to replace them with plastic ones, and they got immediately sued because they would break, and you could get splinters, or not you, but kids could get splinters from them.
Wow.
So they immediately brought the paper ones back and killed billions of trees in the process. Oh, although I think the suckers were probably worse for us than killing the trees. I don't know. So let's see. Today is June 23rd, which means we were 2 days ago. We celebrated some big holiday. Karen, I'll ask you first. Remember, do you know what that holiday was?
Let's see. It
June
was
21st.
Father's Day, my parents' anniversary,
Yeah.
and the solstice.
The solstice. Oh, very good. This would be the spring, summer solstice. That's right. The summer solstice, June 21st, beginning of summer, longest day of the year. Why do I bring that up? And the way most people celebrate is by going to Stonehenge, which
But I have to correct you. This year it was not on the 21st. It
Oh.
was on the 20th because of leap year.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I stand corrected.
Very good. Very
Oh.
good.
Oh, John is confirming it. Thank you, John.
Well, I have to say what's on my mind.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay. So I bring this up because, according to legends, unusual things happen on the first day of the different season. So summer solstice is the longest day of the year, so hard to sleep. The winter solstice is the shortest day of the year. All of a sudden, it's dark. The equinoxes, though, are more unusual because that's the day when the sun amount of light and the amount of dark are exactly the same. It's believed by many cultures that the entire world or universe is in perfect harmony and balance on the two equinoxes. Why do I bring that up? One of the things that people do to celebrate or to test that theory, especially on the spring equinox, is they attempt to stand an egg on its end. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I have, but I never understood why.
That's why, because people believe that if the whole world is in balance, eggs will be in balance too. And on that particular day, you can take an egg, stand it on end, and it will stand up. Now, if you don't have an egg, they also say this works with a broom. Okay, because you don't have a broom either. You have that robot thing. So maybe you could stand that on end. I don't know. So long way of getting to the real story that I want to talk about, and that is this guy in Malaysia who, and hopefully I have his picture around here somewhere, guy in Malaysia who set a new world record for balancing eggs. Now, he didn't balance one on its end. He balanced three eggs. Boy, I should have gone to rehearsal. He balanced three eggs, one on top of each other in a stack. And the Guinness people were there. They had to stay balanced for 5 full seconds before they fell over. And sure enough, it happened. So believe it or not, and I know you don't believe it, so I had to bring a picture here. Let's see. I think we can see that there. There's his 3 eggs right there. And there's the guy going, whoa. So how about that?
Yeah, but it's cut off on the bottom. Maybe it's sitting in something.
No. I saw them. Real news. It's always true news here, Karen. What are
No
you
fake
saying?
news here. No fake news.
No fake news. That's right. Thank
Okay,
you, John. No fake news. So, so he says he's been doing this since he was 6 years old. So he he must belong to a very rich family that's able and one that loves eggs, because I'm sure he busted a lot of eggs doing that. And as far as the equinox story is concerned, it's all an old wives' tale. There's nothing in the universe that makes eggs stand on end on the spring equinox. The people who do it, and if you want to try this at home, you're welcome to. What they say is to find an egg that has a much bigger bottom than the top. Kind of like many of us pick our dates, or used to. Oh man!
Oh, where's your bell at? Where's your bell? Don't you have a bell, or don't you have a horn you can play?
Yeah, no, I have my horn. That's right. I don't have
All right, folks. Very good.
sound effects. Yeah, let's see. Let's try this. Yeah, that's me heading out the door as the lovely
Yep.
Donna's coming in. So what they recommend is to get an egg with a bigger bottom, and also if you and don't do this in the grocery store, but if you feel the egg, a lot of them have bumps and little protrusions on them, and those are the ones that are the best for balancing. So just all the things you learn on what in the world, like
Of
how to
course.
balance an egg. Yeah.
Of course.
So this poor guy, I'm amazed that this guy could do this now, because I went to the grocery store the other day and there's a big egg shortage going on still. It's tough finding eggs and toilet paper. I don't know if there's a correlation between those two.
I hope not.
But so now, in fact, I'm going to bring up my little trivia horn again here, because as a warning to John that I'm going to start picking on him about some
Okay.
trivia. This one has to do with Batman. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you saw this news this week, but my favorite Batman, next to the one I'm going to talk about, was movie Batman, was Michael Keaton. I thought that he played the best movie Batman way back in, I don't know if he was the first or the second.
I think that movie came out, Paul, in like 1990, I think.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And turns out they finally convinced him to do another one. So
Wow.
a very strong rumor coming out of Hollywood that Michael Keaton, Mr. Mom, there's a
Sure.
bunch of other movies that he was in, will
Sure.
be playing Batman again, donning the costume. Probably the one that has Spanx in it. So and the built-in ripples and everything, so he looks like he's muscular. But so anyway, so another Guinness World Record was set last week by a cosplayer. Now, a cosplayer are people who like to get dressed up in costumes of their favorite movie characters. A lot of Star Trek, Star Wars people are into that. So this guy's dressed up like Batman. He sets a world record for the most tools attached to his bat belt. Batman wears a bat belt. He carries
He does.
it. Yeah, 30. He said his record was 30 tools that he was able to attach to his bat belt, and these were legitimate Batman tools, and apparently leave them on long enough that they didn't fall off. Tools like the extendable baton, the pair of handcuffs, a road flare, a laser pointer. I don't know, what did Batman need a laser pointer for? He was doing a lecture on tools, I guess. A butane torch, a grappling hook. Now, John, you may notice that those are not the correct descriptions of the things that our favorite Batman, Adam West from the TV show, would have attached to his belt. He would have like a bat hook or bat cuffs.
Or a bat rope. a bat rope.
That's right.
something-
Bat rope, bat laser pointer, if he was carrying a laser pointer back in the
Sure.
So, and so that was one thing I noticed. And then the second thing that bothered me was they didn't let Batgirl have a chance, because I don't remember Batgirl wearing a belt, but I'm sure Batgirl had a bat purse. And based on all the women I know, Batgirl had far more than 30 bat tools in her bat purse than Batman had on his bat belt.
Batgirl had a lot of tools. Wait a minute.
Speaking of which,
Let
John,
me
okay,
check.
so I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Go ahead.
From our favorite Batman, the television show with Adam West. Can you name some of the bat tools that he used to have on his belt, on his bat belt, to fight against bat villains?
Well, bat rope is one I can
Bat
remember.
rope, right? Okay.
Didn't he also have some kind of rope that had like a bat at the end of it, where he would like hurl it up and he
I
could
think,
like
I think that was the bat.
to a
Oh,
building?
that was
What was that called?
the batarang.
Batarang. Yeah, something like that, right?
He
Okay.
had a boomerang shaped like a bat. I think
Right,
that was the
right.
batarang.
Did he have a flashlight? Didn't he have a
Oh,
flashlight?
I sure did. Yeah, bat light.
A
Yeah.
flashlight. Trying to think what else, what other tools he
Well,
had.
he had the bat cuffs. Those were the.
Yeah, oh yeah, okay.
He also had the bat shield, which was bulletproof, and he used to attach it to the front of the Batmobile sometimes.
Remember that, because that's why he was impervious to bullets when the
There you
villain
go.
bullets
That's
at
right. And then when they were driving and they were going through a lot of bugs, the bat shield protected the
Yeah.
bat windshield
the
from
bat shield.
bat bug spatter. Yeah.
Yes,
So-
yes.
and when they were outside the Batmobile and a fly entered the scene, he could grab his bat swatter, which I remember that episode. I saw a picture of it. Now, a couple that I don't remember. One was the bat lube. Now, I'm not sure why Batman would need bat lube. My dirty mind, of course, came up with a number of reasons. And the cleanest one I could say was that he rubbed it on his bat pole to lubricate it, I guess, so that he and Robin could slide up and down.
Well,
There's nothing dirty about that. You know that.
I understand. Oh boy.
So they also had bat sleep gas. And if they applied bats, they sprayed it on someone. They also had to spray bat wake gas to wake them up.
Right.
They had, now, and this may have come from using the bat lube. They also had batcillin, which protected them from disease. And bat shark repellent, which I believe Batman only used once. There was only one episode where Batman was exposed to a shark villain.
Don't remember that episode, but I'm sure there was one, Paul. I'm sure there was
So-
one.
Batman was ahead of his time because some of those tools actually became real things. The bat speech imitator, which was used to produce Batman's voice when Alfred would dress up like Batman, so
Right.
that Bruce Wayne could show up.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, that kind of stuff happens on computers all the time now. So
right.
how about that? And then they also had the bat directional finder, which is just like GPS. Okay, it helped them figure out
Way
where
ahead of
they
his
were.
time. Way ahead of his time, he was.
Yeah, way far ahead of his time. Far ahead of his time.
Sure.
So remember, rub some bat lube on your bat pole, kids, and we'll be back next week.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Hey man, thank you, John. That's right. Same bad time, same bad channel. So, along with sticking with our theme of world records for a moment here, Anheuser-Busch is looking to hire, get ready for this, a chief hiking officer who will be paid $20,000 to hike the Appalachian Trail while hosting beer parties along the way. What does beer have to do with hiking? I don't know. I'm not a big beer drinker anymore. I don't recall those two going together when I was. John, I don't know about you, but
Well, I just go back to when there was ever a word about, hey, there's going to be a beer party at somebody's house. I would
You
be
hike over there.
I'm going to the beer party. Where are you going? I'm going, but beer was was the central point. Was it
That's
beer
true. Not in the hike. In the
Exactly. Oh, sure.
destination. The destination had the beer, not the hike
Oh,
itself.
sure.
But it turns out that they're looking for people. They need, they need to obviously be experienced hikers. They need to obviously be experienced beer drinkers, and they need to be good at finding secluded locations to take a pee, because they're going to be doing that quite a bit if they're drinking while they're hiking. So
I have a quick question. Let me interject if I. Well, wait. Can you drink beer in a national park? Or if you're on the trail's not necessarily part of a national park in the national park system, right?
in
But can
some
you?
states, I don't think it's a part of the national park. at all.
Okay, all right. I was just curious about that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but that's a good question.
The question
Considering,
is,
it
can
goes
you-
through four.
I'm
Oh,
sure
yes.
okay, the question he asks is, can you? Okay.
Can-
Not may they drink.
I'm sure Budweiser has people that have researched this thoroughly, and
The
they would
Budweiser-
never put anyone in a situation where they would be violating the laws of the national park.
The Anheuser-Busch legal department. I'm sure
That's a
there's
reputable corporation. That's right.
sharp guys in there I can gather, and gals.
There you go. That's right. So you know how long the Appalachian Trail is? It's 2,200 miles long. So it's even and this is where I get into the world records. That would take me forever. The fastest known time for self-supported hiking, that means they didn't have any assistance, they brought all their own stuff, was for a man was 45 days, 12 hours, and 15 minutes. 45 days to go 22,000 miles. And
Wow.
it's up and down. There's no flat parts of the Appalachian
Right.
Trail.
Wow.
For a woman, it was just 54 days. So that is awfully fast.
That's a lot of. That's not to be funny. That's a lot of ground to cover.
It certainly is. Yeah, and that wasn't funny, John. But
We're brutally honest on this show.
I'm the funny guy here. Hey, let's
Honest.
remember
You're
what our roles are on What in the World.
All right, that's all right. That's okay.
So, believe it or not, I posted this on Facebook. And by the way, a lot of the stories that I talk about on What in the World, I test out on Facebook. So you're welcome to follow me on Facebook and get a taste of what I might be talking about. I had more friends come out of the woodwork, and non-friends, asking me how they could apply for the job.
Well, there's something to that.
Exactly. Too many people stuck at home. I believe that's what it is.
Time on their hands, Paul.
Time on their hands. That's right. Here's another guy with time on his hands. We go to Spain for this story. And in Spain, broke a Guinness World Record, spent 297 consecutive hours. That's 10 days, over 10 days, riding a stationary exercise bike.
Oh,
He was
boy.
only allowed to get off for like 5 minutes, and I think he got 2 hours to go to sleep. But the rest of the time he spent pedaling a stationary bike. When he was done, he got off and proposed to his girlfriend. And his
Wow.
girlfriend said, "No, I want to marry a guy who's going someplace."
Oh,
Oh,
Wait a minute.
there you go. I'm sorry, I don't have a rim shot here. Believe it or not, John and Karen, I myself hold 2 world records for the stationary bike.
Really?
Yes, most stuff ever piled on a stationary bike, and also the longest time for owning a stationary bike and never using it.
Oh.
Those are, that's a common thing too. Do you have a stationary bike, John?
twice a day.
I'll tell you, I have a real difficulty with a stationary bike or like a, what do you call them? The inside house. What do you call them? The track. You know,
Oh,
my
Oh,
wife
yeah.
uses
treadmill.
the track, okay, but I can't. I have to be outside. I really
Yeah.
do. I mean, I'm just not good with in a home or inside. I have to be outside. I'm
Yeah,
outside, okay.
yeah.
Inside, I'm not.
Karen, I think, don't you have exercise equipment in your home, don't
well,
you?
I have a recumbent bike and I ride it 40 minutes twice a day.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's good exercise.
That's almost like laying down, isn't it? That's
No.
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 I-
But what I do when I'm riding it, I'm either watching TV. Okay, so that's either my
Yeah.
TV time or I'm reading a book. So, yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, and getting your exercise, getting your
absolutely.
physical therapy. That's right. So it's a good thing to have. It's a good thing to have. Now, John, I know you own, or you may have once owned a lawnmower. I don't know
Oh,
if
I do. In fact, I use a lawnmower once a week in the summer. I
really
have
to
a
mow the
small,
lawn, or
I have a
oh, you
small,
mow your bocce ball court. That's right.
oh yeah, I got to work around that. But wait a minute, I have a self-propelled Toro motor, but it's
Oh,
not a riding mower. And I have to cut the back part. There's a behind our property, there's an easement that is owned by First Energy. First Energy is there because their power towers, not on our property, but just before you get to the Ohio
right,
Turnpike.
right,
So long story short is First Energy is supposed to maintain our back areas,
right.
and they do, well, they do if it interferes with the transmission of electrical power. Because we once had a part of a tree behind our neighbor's house come down into his backyard and part of my backyard. And
Right.
First Energy did come out and they took care of that problem. However, I have my wife and I have 3 dead trees behind our property line.
Right.
And every year in the spring, I contact them and explain these are dead trees that are an eyesore, and they really don't do anything for not just our yard, but our neighbors' yards. And
Yeah.
the common reply that I get is, we are sorry because it does not interfere with the transmission of electrical power by those lines that those trees are supposedly supposed to conceal.
I'll tell
It's
you what, John, whenever I have problems like that, I used to call the power company, and then I noticed that like 5 minutes after I called and complained, my lights started to flicker. And you know, I said,
what is that, Paul?
wait a minute, no,
Paul, what does that tell you?
that tells me an awful lot.
Yes, it does.
That's
So
why
anyway,
I never call the water company, because I need all the plumbing working. So anyways, we
oh,
found a track there. And speaking of tracks, there's a racetrack, in a small racetrack in New Zealand, in the town of Taranaki, and they are actually holding lawnmower races at this track. And they had 27 competitors in a recent race, and it's hugely popular down there. So Will Ferrell, the actor, he
sure.
is planning a movie called Taranaki Night, The Ballad of Blackie Decker. And he will play a lawnmower riding racetrack guy. And we should have rehearsed this one. But so
I got
my
it.
buddy, yeah, I know Karen was at rehearsal, John was at rehearsal, I was not there. In fact, buddy of our show, Don, the Bigfoot guy from Florida, he
Don
read the
Drew.
story, and
Don
he contacted me. He said, lawnmower racing is popular throughout the United States. I said, Don, I did not know that, but I know someone who might, and that would be our other buddy, John Dinalo, who knows everything about sports. And it's time for What in the World of Sports with John Dinalo and the very unusual yet popular lawnmower racing competition.
Well, thank you, Paul, for the introduction. But first of all, let's start with something related. Do you know that there is a National Lawnmower Hall of Fame?
There has to be. If it's,
And it is
if it's that
located,
popular, yeah.
can you guess what state it's located in?
Oh, Karen, we'll throw that
Aaron,
one.
can you get
Wow, like I would know. I don't know the first thing about a lawnmower.
the wonderful state of Ohio?
Really?
And it is located in Marion, Ohio.
Marion, not that far from here.
And a further step, it's located at 1299 Harding Highway East, State Road 309. I assume it's the highway name for our former president, Warren Harding from Ohio.
Oh, as a matter of fact, now I do know a little bit about that. Warren Harding is from Marion, Ohio.
Okay.
If you're planning a trip to Marion once the whole
Well, hey,
thing,
talking about a trip to Marion a couple of years ago,
yeah,
my husband took me on a vacation to Marion Ohio.
And I bet you had a blast, didn't you?
Oh, had such a wonderful time.
Let me ask you this, Karen. Was it like a 1-day vacation or like a 3-day vacation?
It was supposed to be 3 days. We came home the next.
Well,
Well-
there's so many things. There's a Garfield Museum. There's
Yes,
It
there
was
is a Garfield
closed-
Museum
yeah,
there.
it
I'm
was
aware of
closed-
that. Yes, I am.
It was
Yeah.
closed for remodeling.
Okay, well,
so anyway, so John, if there's a Hall of Fame, this is obviously a big deal. That means there must be like a commissioner and a.
oh yes, let me explain if I may. Sure.
Okay.
So the U.S. Lawnmower Racing Association, the acronym is USLMRA.
That just rolls off your tongue there.
Yes, it does. It's the governing body for lawnmower racing in the United States. It's lawnmower racing. This is not lawnmower activity. It's racing.
Racing, yeah.
Explain. The organization is based in Chicago, Illinois. Its founder and president is Bruce Kaufman. Formed on April Fool's Day, 1992, the U.S. Lawnmower Racing Association is the nation's oldest and largest national lawnmower racing sanctioning body.
Which means there's more than one.
Well, yes.
Kind of like boxing, yeah. You know,
Yeah, so many. It's like wrestling associations years ago in the 60s. Like, what wrestling federation were you part of? But anyway,
no kidding, yeah. So
okay.
So anyway, so how many? So they have they have races around the country.
Yes. For example, there's more than 500 recognized USLMRA racers that compete nationwide.
Amazing.
And there's 4 tiers, which include the 10 event, the STA Bill National, the US Point Series. There's regional traveling chapters, local home track affiliate clubs, and racing exhibitions.
So
it's larger than you think.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's like I'm no auto racing fan, so I go for the crashes and for the records. So let's get right to the world records. How about some?
I do have them. I do have some info on that, Paul. Yeah. Okay. So this is the current speed record. The fastest lawnmower has been clocked at 214.967 kilometers, which equates to 133 miles per hour.
133 miles an hour.
That's correct.
Lawnmower.
And it was constructed and raced by Per Christian Lunderferret from Norway. And this was at the Torp Sagefjord Airfield in Westfold, Norway on November 5th, 2015. He used now this is not a normal lawnmower. He used a modified Viking T6 lawnmower for this record-breaking attempt.
We got to get one of those.
The longest.
How do you stay on a lawnmower going 133 miles an hour?
It gets better.
That's one heck of a seatbelt.
Oh, it is. The longest distance pushing a lawnmower.
Oh, now this is more our speed, right?
Okay, wait. In 24 hours by an individual is clocked at 57.6 miles an hour and was achieved by Jody Fossinger of the UK. And this was done in Bournemouth, UK on December 16th and 17th in 2017.
I can't, but I do the front and the back and I'm done. This
Oh, you're kidding me? That's ridiculous.
4 hours.
That's
How
ridiculous.
about
Well,
good.
A couple more. Longest duration balancing a lawnmower on the chin.
No.
Wait a minute.
John,
Come on. Hey, this is appropriate for the show. Okay.
people do this. People actually do this.
Wait a minute. Look at how scientific this is. It was calculated at 13 minutes, 7.95 seconds, and was achieved by another British citizen or UK citizen, excuse me, James Rawlings. And this was in Glastonbury, UK.
Oh, now, did you say that one running?
I don't know that. I just know that he balanced the lawnmower.
Where's the picture?
Oh, yeah. Paul, can you help me on that?
I happen to have, no, I do have a picture.
There you go.
Hang on just a second here, and let's see. Can you see that guy balancing a lawnmower on his chin?
And that was
That's
recent.
amazing, folks.
That was recent. That was June 27th, 2019.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
these are recent records. These are not records from 20, 30 years ago. These are recent. Wait a minute. The farthest distance walked balancing a lawnmower on the chin, a powered lawnmower.
Oh, okay,
is-
that's what I was
Wait
waiting
a
for.
minute.
So
Let me
running.
continue.
It's running. And it's balanced on his chin. How far did he go?
He went 234 feet, 6.96 inches, and was achieved by Ashrita Furman in Jamaica, New York. And this was on June 22nd, 2017.
So
Now, let me ask you, wait,
almost
I
an
have one
entire,
thing.
that's the length of a football field almost.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
With a running lawnmower on his chin.
But wait a minute. Here's what my question is.
Oh, wait,
Who's measuring this and how is it being measured?
I don't know.
Who's measuring this?
All I know is that guy, before he did anything, he said, hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah, well, he would captivate the audience for sure.
Holy smoke.
Here it is.
The length of a football field with a running lawnmower balanced on your
That's what it is. Okay, now,
people have too much time on their hands.
of course, like the song by Styx. Anyway, the longest duration.
Okay, the
Balance-
last one, John.
Okay,
Yeah.
the last one. The longest duration balancing a powered lawnmower on the chin is 3 minutes, 1.34 seconds, achieved by the same person, by Ashrita Furman, at the indoor stadium of the Sports Authority of Goa in Panaji, Goa, India, on November 10th, 2013.
India.
No, wait.
They don't have that
He
much.
broke his previous record by over 50 meters.
Wow.
So he did it for 3 minutes.
Correct. 3
3
minutes, 1.34 seconds.
This is all these people. I can just see them. They go home and their wife says, "Are you going to do the lawn?" And they say, "Are you kidding? No."
I'm tired of the lawnmower. I am tired of the
Exactly.
lawnmower.
Yeah. I'm
Get it
busy.
away from me.
I got
Get
yeah.
it away.
Wow.
Oh my
Oh,
lord.
John, thank you so much for that trivia.
You're
Those were
welcome,
great
Paul.
records.
You
I
were
love
very welcome.
Yeah. So now I made a promise that I broke one promise, which is that we don't talk about politics on What in the World, unless, of course, somehow the paranormal world and unusual news world seeps
It
in.
intersects with politics.
There you go. And that happened this week, John and Karen, with our own President Trump. When I've talked about Roswell before.
Right.
What in the World? Roswell is the place in 1940 in New Mexico, 1947, where an alien spaceship allegedly crashed and they allegedly found bodies. Turns out Roswell is actually 75 miles from where the spaceship allegedly crashed. But they allegedly, and I'm going to stop saying allegedly pretty soon, took all the stuff to the local Air Force base, which was in Roswell. And that's where all the press releases came from. So that's how it got to be called the Roswell UFO. So very famous, and it's tied to Area 51, and we've talked about Area 51 all last summer and storming Area 51. Now, President Trump is interested in space. He started the Space Force. He went to see the SpaceX capsule launch. He's talked about sending people to Mars. But he never really talks about UFOs, except for one time when he was asked about UFOs. And this was after that incident where the government actually released videos of UFOs from the USS Nimitz. And he said, people are saying they're seeing UFOs. Do I believe it? Not particularly. Okay. So, even though his opponent in 2016, Hillary Clinton, said that if she were elected, she would definitely open up the X-Files and tell us all about UFOs and aliens that the government's been hiding. Her campaign manager, John Podesta, who was also in her husband's staff and was also worked for President Obama, during all those times was constantly promising that he would do it. And he said, this time I'm telling the truth. If we get elected in 2016, I'm definitely opening up the X-File. Of course, he didn't get elected. So over the weekend, Father's Day, President Trump, being a good father, he decided to help out his kid, Don Jr. Don Jr. has a podcast, not on newclevelandradio.net, called Triggered. And so he came on to Don Jr.'s Father's Day podcast, and they talked about all kind of family things. And then Don Jr. maybe made a mistake, I don't know. He asked his dad about UFOs. And this time, the president said, I won't talk to you about it, about what I know about it, but it's very interesting. So he was referring to Roswell. I can't tell you what I know about it, but it's very interesting. So this gets picked up all over the place. I was one of the first people to put it on the internet. We got a huge amount of attention as a result of it. And then he followed up. Don Jr. said, well, what do you mean? And he said, so many people ask that question. There are millions and millions of people who want to go to Roswell and see it. Well, what is it? Does he know what it is that's there? I haven't been there myself, but it's a very small town. It has a Roswell museum, obviously. It's also famous. It's more, up until that time, it was more famous for Robert Goddard, who was also tied to the space program. He was a big rocket engineer back before, after World War II and before the space program started. So Don Jr., he says, he pressed him one more time. He says, you sure you're not going to reveal anything? Hoping he's going to get the scoop. And the president says, well, I'll have to think about that one. So think about what? I mean, what could he possibly know? Is there really a crashed spaceship? Are there really dead aliens? Which is what everybody wants to know. We don't want to know anything else. But drag out the bodies. That's what we're interested in. Anything else is nonsense. So, I would like to. This is my pitch, President Trump. If you're listening, I would like to interview you. I know more about, and I make this statement humbly, more about UFOs than Don Jr. does, as much as he knows. I would like to offer to interview you about nothing but UFOs. Let's put all the cards on the table. I'll tell you what I know. You tell me what you know. We'll get ratings out the wazoo, or whatever it's referred to these days. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
Right here on newclevelandradio.net, the non-political network. That's right. We are.
It's groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking. That's right. It would be. It would be groundbreaking. It would be groundbreaking. That's the best word for it, John. Thank you.
Okay.
So, and if we can, if Mr. President, if you need another witness to back you up, I can arrange to talk to a soccer player. And John, you'll love this. This came out this week. A soccer player from Chile came out and said that he missed practice a few years ago. And the reason why he missed practice was because he was abducted by aliens.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Now, as someone who
continue, do you have a result of the abduction? Do you have a story about the abduction? And
of course. I have a story. Of course, I have a story. So this is in Chile, which has a lot of UFO sightings. So it's certainly believable from my standpoint. And athletes are known to hate training camp. So to make an excuse to avoid training camp, just like we would make an excuse about going to school, for a test, it's perfectly understandable. So this guy was afraid to do it. So he got one of his best friends, another soccer player, gave an interview and said that the player who saw it was Gustavo Lorenzetti. So Gustavo was the one who saw the UFO back when they played for the Chilean national team, and was abducted. So And he believes him. He says, and everybody on the team believed him because he was not the kind of person who was ever late for a team meeting, ever late for practice. They never knew him to be a liar or a cheat or never got any yellow cards or anything like that. He was a straight up player on the team. So they all believed him. Now, whether the team owners believed him or not is another story. We don't know. And he was a star. He was one of the stars when that team, the Chilean team, won the national championship. Not they weren't in the World Cup or anything, but so he's a big shot. And he says he was abducted. Yeah, so if he says he was abducted, they all believe him. Now, unfortunately, he wasn't the one doing the interview. So we have no other details on the abduction. And that would be a great thing for him to talk about if I invited him to newclevelandradio.net and here on What in the World. We do a alien-only show, with the president talk about the X-Files. We have this guy from Chile talk about being abducted by aliens and making excuses. So, and soccer, it's appropriate that it was a soccer player because and I think I've mentioned this on the show before, one of the most famous UFO incidents over an athletic competition happened in Spain when a soccer match, a huge, big soccer match, was completely stopped because a UFO flew over the stadium, and it was covered by the news. There were the typically blurry pictures. There were people who picked up stuff that fell from the UFO on the ground. They called it angel hair, which is a big thing in the UFO world. Something like the fuel, when the fuel of a UFO, a spaceship, coagulates in space, it falls down and looks like hair. Or it could have been a spider web, which is the other theory.
Anything's possible.
I know, that's right. It was a giant, you know how spiders can kind of congregate together and they'll make a big web, and then it gets picked up by the wind, and that's how they move their nest to a new location. So this was like the world's largest spider mob, and flew over the stadium, and the sun was shining, and people were drunk and yelling, and that's how they believed they saw a UFO.
Okay.
If we want to get somebody else, Aaron Rodgers, quarterback Aaron Rodgers from the NFL, he claimed that he and some other players saw a UFO in New Jersey last year. Maradona, the very famous soccer player, he claimed that he was on an alien spaceship at one time.
On the ship?
On a ship, that's right. He was abducted for 3 days, not just one, but 3 days. Of course, Maradona was known to do a little imbibing. So
taking a trip on the astral plane. He was taking a trip on the astral plane.
There you go. Not as believable as the other.
Why hasn't he written a book about his experiences? Do you know?
Who, me? I don't. Well, he's busy playing soccer, John, where the money is. So
right. Okay. I get that.
I can just, the original story sounded to me like something that you would write, when you cut school and you didn't want your mom to know about it. So you wrote an excuse for the teacher that
Right.
in her handwriting, and you said, please excuse John from school yesterday. I was abducted by aliens. And then you crossed out the I, and he was abducted by aliens. And the teacher looks at it and says, this doesn't look like your mother's handwriting. And you have to say, well, she was abducted too, and they took over her brain and made her write the excuse, and that's why they made the excuse. She would never make a mistake like that. Yeah,
I see.
All right. Which of course the teacher wouldn't believe. So,
Right.
So that's my UFO pitch for UFO stories for today. A little pitch to the president. And on that note, I know John's been anxiously awaiting for this. Every week we play a little game on What in the World called Bluff the Co-Host, which you should be able to figure out by now, just by the name Bluff the Co-Host, what's involved in it. I tell 3 stories that are very similar to the ones that we just went over. The difference is that these may or may not be the truth. So they may be a bluff. I'll tell 3 stories. It could be all 3 of them true, all 3 bluffs, or some combination in between. It's up to Karen and John to determine what they think the real story is and which ones are the bluffs.
Right on, right on.
So this is, according to Las Vegas, this is one of the highest competitions wagered on since all.
Really, it is.
Yeah, since the sports all shut down, we moved up to the top.
Moving up, moving up.
That's right. So we're getting some publicity from Vegas. I think that's great. We need to do a road trip.
Sure.
So anyways, John and Karen, my co-host and co-host, hands on the buzzers. Let's play Bluff the co-host.
Okay, I'm ready.
Stump the co-host. What do we call it anyway? Boy,
Stump
I need
the
to go.
co-host.
Stump
Stump
the
the
co-host.
Stump the co-host.
Here we go. So story number 1. The government of Thailand has found a new but controversial way to stop its wild monkey population from attacking humans. They use cigarettes. It turns out that the monkeys are attacking because they have too much time on their hands. When monkeys get bored, they want to have sex, and the female monkeys are getting tired of it. So, in order to trick the monkeys into thinking that they've already had sex, volunteers are giving them lit cigarettes to smoke. They learn how to smoke quickly by watching other monkeys, and the nicotine makes them feel like they've already had sex. This sounds familiar, like humans, and they then leave the opposite sex alone for a few hours. Experts are hoping this will be enough to keep them from attacking both humans and sex dolls they find in the trash. So, the government of Thailand, and we know monkeys are a huge problem in Thailand, to keep them from attacking humans, they're giving them cigarettes to make them think that they've already had sex and relax them. John is thinking about this one hard. Karen, I'm going to let you go first.
You know,
Real or bluff?
it doesn't make sense that it can be real because they could put nicotine in their food source. That would be much easier than giving them a lit cigarette.
Good thinking on that, Karen. Good thinking.
I'm going to say it's false.
Okay, so Karen says it's a bluff. Wow, Karen can't imagine monkeys smoking cigarettes after sex. John, how about you? You have a vivid imagination.
Yeah, no, I have to concur. I don't think they do that after sex.
You don't think they do that either?
No.
No?
No. I think it's false.
So we have 2 bluffs. Two votes for bluff,
False. Too false.
2 false. Okay.
opinions.
Well, I'll take either one of those answers, and you're both correct.
Yay!
All right, way to go, Karen. Okay, starting out of the shoot.
Okay,
That's
let's
good to
try a harder one. Yeah.
hear. All right, okay. Try
Okay.
it on. Try it on.
Story number 2. Professional baseball teams in Japan have been playing to empty stands ever since the season began, and fans are getting frustrated. However, instead of letting them into the stadium while wearing masks, the Yomiuri Giants, the most popular team in Japan, is allowing 1 fan per game to control a walking, talking robot that can cheer, clap, high-five players, and even stand in line and buy a hot dog. The fan stays home while watching the whole thing on a monitor. The players can see the person's face on the Jumbotron screen. They can wave to them. They can try to toss loose baseballs to them like they do to real fans. Using the robot is free to the fan who wins the contest in each game, but to use the kiss cam, they must pay for a ticket for the person they're kissing. So other than that last option right there, the fans winning a contest to control a robot that attends a baseball game in Japan in their absence. You know, those Japanese and their robots, they love them. What do you think, John? Real or bluff?
I'm going to say bluff.
Bluff. Okay, you haven't been to a baseball game.
Can't envision the robot doing all those things.
You wouldn't want to go to a baseball game as a robot?
No, it takes away from the natural feel of things.
The
Like, where do you
natural
go to
feel,
robot?
that's, I know what that feeling
Yeah,
is.
the robot sitting next to you. You want a beer? I don't think so.
I love it.
It would be more like meep, meep first. You have to make robot sounds. All right, Karen, how about you? John says it's a bluff.
I think it's a bluff too because Rich has been watching the, foreign baseball games.
Oh
Korean,
yeah,
the
And they
Korean baseball.
yeah, and they have dummies sitting in the seats,
they
not
have dummies. That's true. They do.
dummy people, but
Yes,
dummies,
dum dums.
Americans. So I'm going to say bluff.
You're gonna say so. Another two more bluffs here. Two more bluffs. Well, guess what? You're both wrong. That's a real story.
Really?
No way.
Believe it or not. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The Japanese and their mobile robot.
Yeah.
So that
Wait,
is the truth. They will have a
oh,
mobile robot able to roam the stands, and it can. The person sits at home. They can see everything that's going on. They can go down to the field. The players can interact with the robot. They can see the
Wow.
person's face. Yeah, it's very clever. Very very clever idea.
now I hate
But
I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up. Can you provide a picture of the robot?
oh no. Now, John, we covered
Well,
that before.
sorry, Paul. Just for poetic
Just
justice.
because I don't have a picture doesn't mean it's not real. It's kind of like the Loch Ness monster.
Uh,
I was thinking about the Loch
Trust,
Ness monster the
trust
other
me,
day.
John.
Wait a minute. I was thinking about the Loch Ness monster the other day. The eerie picture. It's iconic.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in days. I haven't seen it in years. The Loch Ness monster.
Okay. Obviously, John is indignant about being found wrong here. So, guess what, John? You still have a chance to catch up. Points are doubled on the last question. So, this is your chance, John and Karen both.
We have to redeem ourselves, Karen. Come on now.
okay.
Story number 3. To deal with an invasion of iguanas and the fact that most people have no idea how to eat them, a pizza restaurant in Florida is offering iguana as a topping on all of its pies. The iguana meat is fully cooked and costs half as much as regular extras to entice customers to try it. To help them decide, the pizza shop owner has come up with clever names for people who like other toppings. For example, sausage lovers can order piguana. Vegetarians can order the figuana. Onion lovers can get the stinkguana. Pepperoni fans can get the salamiguana. There's also iguanas for certain types of people. For example, geeks can get the iguana nerd. Oil workers can get the riguana. And Russian fighter pilots who happen to be in town and want a pizza can order the miguana. It's a Russian fighter plane, by the way.
Yeah,
And of course, anchovy lovers can go elsewhere. Because they have so many of them left over, the restaurant is also trying to make iguana buffalo wings out of those weird flaps that hang from the necks of iguanas. The iguana toppings are for a limited time only. So, iguanas are a big problem in Florida. A pizza owner taking advantage of it, enterprising individual, catches the iguanas, butchers them, makes them into sausages and other forms of meat, offers them as toppings, has clever names for them to get people to try it. Real or bluff?
It has to be
Aaron?
a bluff. And if it's not a bluff, I'm going to cry.
so let's see. If it's not a bluff, that means you're saying it's a bluff.
It's a bluff.
It's a bluff. Okay. I wanted to make sure I understood because
Yeah.
you had a bunch of double negatives in there.
Yeah. It's
The bluff. John, what do you think?
I'm going to say, given the fact that it's in Florida, there's
Oh,
all,
a place that you have been.
wait, let me continue. There's
Okay.
all kind of reptiles and amphibians in Florida. I'm going to say it's true.
So we have a conflict here. So John says it's true. Karen says it's a bluff. I think both of you have been to Florida, I take it.
Yes, many times.
You both know what iguanas look like.
Sure.
Have you ever tasted iguana?
Have no interest.
no.
Well, guess what, John? You won't see any on your next pizza.
Yay!
You're right. That was a
All
bluff.
right. Okay. I think too much on this show. That's my
You
problem.
do, yeah.
I think too much. If I would think less, I would be better off.
Tell you what, I'm hungry now. I think I could go for a pizza.
Well, it's time for you to go make dinner, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, thanks, Karen.
That's a great segue there, right
There
there.
you go. That's right. What a way to end. All right. So anyway, thanks to everyone for tuning in, whether you're on YouTube or on whatever platform you're on. Please come back next week. Google us on YouTube. You can find more of our videos. Go to newclevelandradio.net and see all of the great podcasts that Karen has available. Thank you, John, again for showing up. And
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, guys.
trivia. Always a good time. Karen, thank you again.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all next week.
Have a great day, everybody.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good week, everybody. Bye.